this matchup. It's going to be a great matchup, though. Nouns going up against Alpha. I'd argue Nouns obviously the favorites in this matchup, John, but I'd also argue Nouns one of the favorites to go into the next major through this DPC. I suppose we'll get to see how well they perform throughout the season, at least for this game number 1 in the series overall. John, what do you think about the drafts? Like, going into this matchup, you heard what the panel had to say. Do you have your own opinion?
Yeah, there's a little bit of back and forth. Early smokes here, though.
Oh, early team fight to break out already. Husky in huge trouble. He'll leap away. He'll barely make it out. 20 HP he gets out on. Mind you, he does have level 1 leap, so that's a bit of an issue. They're going to try and cut Husky off here. Husky, he will run towards the fountain. Very cheeky play there from Alpha. Husky, he reads the movement.
I love Alpha's position. They're always on the high ground. They can't even re-intercept here on Nouns. They're all just kind of hanging around at bot lane. They could lose control of the bot runes. Might be able to at least take top.
Absolutely. I love that Magnus voice line. Just every time I hear it, I can't help but giggle. We'll see what they do. Monster's going to try and contest that top bounty. Yamsen's going to be there. Down the strikeout. He'll be just fine to take it. Still, they are going to get a bit of harassment out onto Yamsen. Brambles are there, but a nice juke away, and looks like he's going to be just fine. Very nice start, though, for the side of Alpha, getting 2 bounty runes for themselves. In fact, it was a 2 for 2 anyway, so a nice even start between these two.
Yeah, not the biggest loss in the world. They don't even really cut off Husky's time away. He did probably eat a couple of tangos, but does manage to get out. So just head back to lane, not losing too much, and should get into that back and forth. That top lane for Yamsen should be manageable. There is a lot of aggression you can get done with Wage and Monster. I mean, Magnus and Dark Will can kind of get aggressive if they line their spells up.
Well, Yamsen's in trouble already. Witch trying to get very aggressive here on that Monkey King, and will do so. Monster. Get that early farm on that Magnus. Of course, the +1 Monkey King, one of the stronger laners you can have, but definitely can also be kind of susceptible early on. Of course, down at bot lane as well, a bit of action breaking out. Moo getting very aggressive here against that Clockwork. He's going to be able to get out just fine. Tiger salving himself up on that clock. Of course, Rises on the Wraith King shouldn't have too rough of a time either, I'd argue, here on the Wraith King. Does feel like he should be able to farm just fine, but I suppose we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, you're not going to be shoving out the Doom from lane unless he's extremely out of position. So it looks like our Clockwork will just kind of try to stabilize Tiger, just give as much solo EXP and farm. For Rises, there is a kill threat coming out from Nouns, maybe by level 3 on Doom. Large camp is blocked, so not going to get any mega nice creeps for Moo to play with here, but there's still a lot of presence out, and they're doing a pretty good job of just kind of holding back. For the side of Alpha, again, you could also get aggressive, but it takes some pretty good positioning, and I don't see Moo kind of giving them that position to play up against.
Yeah, certainly not. How's that mid lane been? You had Soul and Gunnar going at it here on the Tusk versus Pango matchup. Obviously, Tusk being a very popular mid hero right now, we see it so often. Of course, off the back of 9 from Tundra, who did win TI-11. Soul going to be on the Pango, though, John. Do you feel like one hero has the advantage here in this mid lane over the other?
I feel like it goes both ways almost. It's hard for the Tusk to really fully punish a Pango for being out of position. At the same time, the Pango can kind of poke and prod fairly well, considering how durable it can get with the shield crash up and how well it can clear out the lane. I feel like rune control is going to be the big thing here, and when it comes to support rotations, both sides do have really good rotations that can come out if they find the openings.
Well, cheeky little snowball there from Gunnar. I believe he was trying to avoid... Look at this, even blocking away Soul, not wanting to allow him to go up the ramp and contest these creeps. Soul going to be just fine to continue to do so. We do actually have a clip as well from Yamsen, John, kind of discussing what his strategy is going into this DPC season. So let's have a look to see what Yamsen had to say.
As for coming into the new DPC season, I think the team is pretty excited to actually get together and put some of our ideas to work. We're planning to boot camp for this upcoming season, and given that it's the first season of the year, it's usually where, you know, some of the most exciting stuff can happen. I think a lot of the teams don't really have particular expectations. They just want to kind of put themselves out there and show that they belong in Division 1 and they have the right to compete for the major slot. So I think we're pretty excited to actually make our mark, basically, as a new team.
That's a very modest opinion from Yamson. I mean, not very confident whatsoever, just very modest, you know, he just wants an opportunity to contest for the major. Yeah, I'd argue Nouns are still one of the favorite teams to go to the major, John.
Yeah, they're pretty much looking in top form. If they maintain that momentum that we saw them have in TI with a different roster in those last chance qualifiers, they've got a pretty good shot. Always find it a bit funny when they say it's fun to meet up, because, you know, we meet up with that as well.
Yeah, that's not very fun, let me tell you. I mean, I haven't had the displeasure of it yet, but I can imagine. I can only imagine what those poor boys has to go through every time they have to deal with that man. Nevertheless, going back to this game number 1, John, no kills happening so far. 0-0, 4.5 minutes in. Very slight net worth lead for the side of Nouns, but you kind of expect that considering they do have Moo on the offlane Doom. Not too much aggression coming up from either side. But you look at the drafts, they do kind of start to get aggressive throughout the mid-game. So you kind of expect another few minutes before they do try attempting for those first bloods. It seems like neither side, though, at least for now, are intending on trying to get too aggressive.
Yeah, you're just really wanting to work these lanes out. Both sides do have offlaners that do want some build-up and farm, and EXP Monster on the Magnus, of course, just wants to try to build up, try to work towards some durability items, get some auras going, maybe try to play around with level 6 with the RP, but it does feel like it's more on the supports. They do isolate Moo for a bit here.
Oh, nice cogs out as well from Tiger, just locking him right down, but Moo is still going to be able to walk away. In fact, turning around for a cheeky Infernal Blade and a bit more damage back out onto Rises. Understanding how far he can push the hero. He does have a salve available anyway, so he should be just fine to remain within that laning stage. Though Rises, he's going to keep going. They've got another cogs up. Laylis is this time the one in trouble. He'll still try to run and might just be okay as Moo now is going to intercept and try to body block. And looks like they are going to be just fine.
Yeah, they're using those cogs really well on Nouns end. You know, that pushback, running away from two melee heroes that can get blocked by each other, does give you a pretty good avenue to get back. And at some time where Rises is not hitting creeps. You know, you're stopping Moo from finding his own creeps, but it's a Doom. He's got Devour, he's going to work into Midas. You don't care all too much, and I like that Moo does have the Arcane Boots up. Going to be easier to keep spamming those spells
lane. Oh, Gunnar, he's getting aggressive now. Soul, barely able to swashbuckle away. Uphill miss as well from our Mirana, so Husky unable to get the final click off. And Soul will barely be able to survive, and once again, John, 6.5 minutes in, no kills coming out from either side. Plenty of close calls, but not quite all the way.
Yeah, and from that mid-rotation, it does look like Nouns is trying to pick that initiative up themselves, Husky.
Well, he's in big danger now. One more click will do it. No, Fairy Fire is there. Nobody wants to be the first guy to give that first blood away. Everyone's surviving. Husky even sticking around for a couple stickers in the mid lane before he does leave. We'll see which team can secure that first blood very soon, I'm sure. I think either side, like you mentioned earlier, just very happy to keep that farm game going. Mill especially on that Doom, top of the CS board and probably top of the net worth board as well. Naturally building into that classic Midas build up for the Doom as well. Everything just kind of going according to plan for both sides, I'd imagine.
Yeah. The one big thing is losing 2 couriers in a row does give Nouns a pretty nice amount of gold going their way. So if you don't have First Blood, that's probably better because it benefits the entire team at the least as the game stays pretty static. I think if the game does keep up this pace, it feels like it's going to have to be on probably Alpha to get a little bit more aggressive. You do want to play with, say, level 6 Clockwork with Hookshot. You kind of want to get use out of your Dark Willow as well, because these are really aggressive supports in the lane, and they just haven't been able to line up for that kill opportunity just yet.
No, certainly not. Almost 8 minutes in now. I suppose with these power runes spawning up, maybe we get a bit more aggression from these two teams. Still a very close matchup, and might I add, while we have a second, Jonathan, of course, our betting partners, esportsbets.io, they did provide odds on this matchup. In fact, hold that thought, because we do have Witch getting jumped on right now with the snowball. Soul's going to go right for the Rolling Thunder. Gunnar in a very awkward position. He'll try to go for the shards out. Invis Rune as well. Can they guess where he's gone? No, they cannot. Gunnar's going to be fine for now. Moving back in, no detection available. Gunnar, he'll be just fine. Back to the point I was trying to make, John, we did have odds provided by our betting partners, esportsbets.io. Of course, Nouns are the heavy favorites, 1.21 in comparison to the 4.17 of Alpha. I'd say those odds don't look so great right now, considering how even the matchup is, but never mind. I've completely cursed Alpha. They lose Soul in the mid lane. Husky, the first one to pick up First Blood.
It only took about 8 minutes 40. We've seen a lot of those back and forths. Gunnar just playing fantastic, timing his rune usage really well. Alpha probably not expecting just a lucky Invis rune to allow Gunnar to slip away, and he's already off to rotate off the back of that kill.
Absolutely, why the hell not? Down to the bot lane they go. Tiger, he'll cop the snowball here from Gunnar, and it's going to be a nice, easy pick-off, I believe, here against Tiger. He'll fairy fire up, but it should not be enough. He'll rise as he tries to get involved now. Moo, he'll be the target, dropping rather low with these brambles being committed, and that's a great trade. Alpha, they'll be more than happy with that. In fact, Sol now rotating over Lilith. Well, he's going to try to run, but there's not really too many places he can go, and he will drop. So a 2-for-1 trade in the favor of Alpha now down at that bot lane, and again, that's great news for this Radiant team.
It's a pretty big loss to drop Moo. At the same time, you are getting Gunnar off to that running start. 2 kills back-to-back for him with that rotation at the least. The gold is flowing into that momentum-based Tusk on mid. And you are buying a lot of space out for Yamsen. Like, Monster can't really do much to stop the Monkey King from farming up. And we heard Fear talk about it, right? Like, if Monkey King does fall behind in the laning phase, can't really farm too well, though.
Well, mid lane again. Looks like they have got Sol on the Pango, but the arrow. Oh, Husky not connecting with the arrow. It's that damn staircase again. It's always so challenging to land any kind of hook or projectile on that staircase, and Husky, he doesn't connect.
It's just that vertical axis, you know, it throws you off. And something that looks like it should be easy to land just doesn't connect.
Yeah,
Trying to make moves here, though.
Trying to connect onto the Monkey King, but he's going to be just fine to walk away. Well, they do have the RP available on Monster, but they surely didn't have the follow-up damage for him, so they'll just let him be for now. So 2-2, very slight net worth lead, still standing for Nouns. You do have the Wraith King Rises, top of the net worth board at the moment, so he's having a great old time, and really is just completely uncontested. Has the armlet now up as well, so his farm should escalate.
Yeah, he should be able to start building up, you know, start using those skeletons in the jungle as well to clear out fairly fast and really get that farm he wants. We're not seeing the emphasis out from Nouns to really do too much down bot. Again, if it does feel like if Gunnar doesn't make the move out, then the supports aren't keen to move. So it's really down to the Tusk to see if he wants to make that move out. And as long as you're farming up, Alpha's pretty happy.
Absolutely. Bit of harassment here from Moo down to the bot lane, but really enough to really go in deep. Leave Rises be, just a few warning shots here down to the bot lane. Bit of a group up around mid, but it's like Alpha just, again, more than happy to keep that farm going. Stacks were made in that triangle, so Monster, he'll take his time to get those taken down. Just want to go for the very early Guardian Greaves, so not going for anything like a Blink. He doesn't want the mobility, but more so the Guardian Greaves to, I suppose, allow a tempo for Alpha. Just that added healing, that added aura, just very annoying to try and have to play against here for the side of Nouns. And if Monster can get a very quick mech up, they can certainly set a tempo that Nouns may not be able to put up with.
Yeah, and it doesn't really feel completely necessary for the early Blink here. You have so much mobility from other heroes as well. They tried to catch out Husky, not quite able to really lock him in. That's a lot of commitment coming out from Alpha to show 3 heroes mid. So that does keep freeing up the side lanes for Nouns to, again, just keep that farm game going, keeping that build up. Echo Saber already up in Yamsen, so you can get some early action out for the Monkey if you want to join in, scouting around the tree line. But again, smoke out from Alpha at least, so trying to get aggressive. They do have the hook shot ready along with the Bedlam and Terrorize, so there's a lot more play here for these 2 supports.
Absolutely. Alpha, they'll make their way up towards the top side. They'd love to find themselves a Monkey King, but Yamsen's already kind of left the building. Well, not really. He does come back towards his team. Only supports left now. Husky's not really the kill you want with this big smoke middle. Hook shot. Oh, they found the Monkey King! Tiger! Hook shots right into the tree line, and Yamsen gets caught out. He's going to try and force the fight anyway, but he's completely stunned up. They do take him out. The ward on that cliff just barely giving the vision, still Gunnar. He's going to try to move in onto the Clockwork and Tiger. He will drop as the trade, but that's a fantastic trade for the side of Alpha.
Huge value coming out from that smoke. Now it's just not checking for wards early on and get punished for it. Alpha, again, just playing in the right spots, sticking his tree. This is what we expected Nouns to do around with Gunnar, but again, he's more keen on just getting that blink out. Does have the gold for it now. So they do have a nice and easy way to start these fights with the Tusk immediately jumping onto that back line. And losing the Monkey King is big, but if they find Monster here, that could make up for it.
Monster, well, he gets caught out, but he's got the skewer available. He'll just commit and walk away. Jump in again. Primal Spring is there, but Yansum, he is lacking a lot of damage. In fact, now the cavalry is incoming. Husky, he's going to go for a run. They do have the stun out, but he should be just fine to walk away. Alpha still chasing, trying to get more aggressive. Nouns, though, seem to have retreated just fine, and there's a lot of committal up at this top lane. Currently 4 heroes up there. Nouns not requiring too many heroes to try and force the defense. So we'll see as they do approach that top tier 1 tower. Sun sticking around, really just kind of baiting out spells here against Alpha. Meanwhile, bottom side, Rises may get caught out. Gunner, he's going to make his way over. On that task, he'll get the shards into the Walrus Punch, but Rises, he does have that level 1 reincarnation, so there is time for his team to TP in and help out. And Gunner, well, he's not doing enough damage on his own. He does need some help. In fact, now he's the one being hunted. Moo, he'll make his way in. They do at least find the first life, but can they get him a second time? They'll catch up Moo on the Doom. Snowball in. It's going to be back onto Rises. They really want that Wraithing, but there's so many heroes around right now. Gunner, he'll go after Monster instead, but a great Terrorize. Widge going to force them back and maybe just tank the gank for his carry. But there is a mech up. He'll heal up and keep trying to survive, but eventually Widge is going to drop. That'll be 1. In fact, that was 2 because the Clockwork also dropped. Keep in mind, Doom was committed on Rises, but they do not secure the kill onto the Wraith King.
Yeah, you commit Doom, but you also manage to take out Reincarnation. Doom cooldown's a little bit shorter, so you do have an opening, maybe about a 20-30 second window where you might be able to get some good value out from the Doom onto the Wraith King once more. More importantly, you can guarantee that the Wraith King's not going to show up to reinforce these fights in the next 2 minutes or so. And this is a key timing for Rises as well. His Desolator is almost done, so if he did have Reincarnation available, they could just easily group up and push.
Poor old Tiger. He's trying to run up a top lane, but they will secure the kill. Lilith, he'll be the one to take it. Yamsun committing the Wukong's command just to make sure they have the damage. Perfectly fine. With that, a 3-6 now. Very slight net worth lead. Still standing the way of Nouns, but nothing to write home about. Top the net worth board is still Rises on that Wraith King. Still unkilled this game on that Wraith King and just getting bigger and bigger. Working on towards that Desolator now, just 1 Mithril Hammer away. Oh, even the Diffusal Blade now coming out onto the Pango, so much more ability to just be a nuisance in these team fights. And Nouns, I mean, I must admit, John, I'm slightly worried for these guys. Like, it does feel like if you're Alpha, you're hitting this tempo now, you're hitting this timing. And once the Desolator's up, I think they can just go.
Yeah, they've got to play around that Desolate. They've got to take some of these objectives, shrink the map to make Yamsum's farming a little bit more awkward, sharing it with Gunner and with Moo. There's probably not enough space to really sustain that. They are grouping up top now. Play around with that, and they should get a nice little push up here as the Desolator starts flying in. Their Reincarnation is still down for a minute, though. A minute 10, so there's an opportunity for Nouns to kind of punish if they want. They're just going to go trade themselves down bot as well. So just going to trade spots on the map, kind of opening it up for both sides. One big thing here, though, is that Lilith did manage to steal Empower, so Yamsun's farming pace is just picking up despite not having any real farming items.
And something we were talking about before while the draft was going on, right? But the Rubik just has so many spells to steal, and one of the easy ones to steal is always going to be that Empower. It's just when no team fight's breaking out, you just want that ability available. Just hand over to Yamsun every single time, and no Battle Fury required here for Yamsun.
And it's shaping up really well in terms of that farming pace. Triple BKB timing is going to line up for all the cores right around the same marker here. So you're going to be really active on Nouns once you do have all those BKBs on everyone up. And again, it's just a little bit awkward to go all in on those pushes. You force out the Fortify. Reincarnation still down for about 20 seconds with the Deso up. They could probably look to aim at mid. They still have this really big team fight ability out from Alpha. They have a really good way of starting these fights with a hook shot, follow up from the Dark Willow. So you have a lot more play on Alpha in comparison to how it takes Nouns to start these fights on their own terms.
Tiger, nice hook shot. He finds Moo. The Doom, still a tanky boy here, trying to get through those cogs, but they've got the Rolling Thunder around. RP, it's going to send him out of the cogs, but they should have enough damage. They'll take him out the first time. Moonlight Shadow's there. They might try to turn here on Nouns. They'll move it onto the Magnus. It is somewhat of a trade ticking down Monster. In fact, now Tiger, he also gets caught out on the Clockwork and will get taken down as well. So a 2-for-1 trade. a lot of commitment here from Alpha, and well, now with all those spells being committed, nouns, they might feel confident to try and force a team fight.
Immediate smoke out. Got a pretty big target in Rises. He does have Reincarnate back up though. This can be a little bit trickier to get done.
Oh, Rises still by himself. He does get the TP away though. Very, very nice timing from Rises, sensing something was awry. Does back his way out. And so nouns, they will not find anything for this smoke rotation. At the very least on the brighter side, you do have your BKB now up on Yamsen, so he's certainly going to be feeling a lot more confident to keep this kind of aggression going. But speaking of aggression, counter smoke now from Alpha. A 4-man smoke, in fact, and they're going to head right into the dire triangle.
Not going to be able to really find anything there. All their vision is up top, so they can easily swing around if they wanted to, and looks like they'll try to get that done, but probably not enough time left, and a bit tricky with that mid-tier 1 still standing. Now and so in position to keep that mid-tier 1 secure. And again, BKB timings are lining up. Only Gunner has his left to wait for. So the triple BKBs kick in. The team fight for Alpha suddenly gets a little bit awkward. Like you can stop one with hook shot and try to hope to catch out with RP. But without that blink up on Monster, relying solely on RP for really good AoE control is just not going to cut it.
Absolutely not. 4 to 8, 3k net worth lead now for nouns. 20 minutes in. Alpha still looking very healthy. Rise is still top of the net worth, but we're doing a great job farming. Yamsen just about 3k behind the Wraith King at the moment. Make that 2. Going for a Desolator of his own now on the Monkey King as well. Never hurts to have one. Just wanting as much damage as possible. Meanwhile, top side, Rises. He's going to be spotted here by Mu and Lelis. With just the 2, you don't really want to try and get in there. Looks like Lelis just going to be trying to be annoying as bottom lane. They do get Tiger. Nice easy clockwork pick off. Back to the top lane though. Moonlight Shadow's going to be popped. Are they really going to try for this? There are going to be TPs coming up from nouns. They do want to try and force the fight. Mind you, Rises, he just got his BKB up. Arrow is going to land, however. That'll be the first life to go down, I believe, that they do mech him up, but it won't matter. Reincarnation is gone. No, he's not going to rush in for the Doom yet. They'll let the BKB go. Meanwhile, Snowball from Gunner, he's just going to send him right back as Rises. He will TP up. Can they catch anyone else here on the side of nouns? It doesn't seem like it. Everyone else going to be just fine for now.
Yeah, you did manage to force out the BKB from Rises. You take away Reincarnation again at minute 40 where he's sort of vulnerable farming forward. So I think nouns got maybe not exactly what they wanted, but something they can use. They can start to play around again, maybe look for another smoke out, and they immediately go for it with still pretty fresh BKBs on their cores. They can try to look to force a fight. And again, if you catch Rises out here, he has no save.
Absolutely not. Lelis, and right into Soul. That'll be the smoke broken. Boundless. Oh, it does not connect onto Monster. Skewer is going to be back the way of Yamsen. Hookshot is there as well, but it does not land onto the Monkey King. It's just a complete mess for Alpha. Oh, and they're going to give 2 away for the price of 1. Nouns more than happy with that. Into the mid-tier 1 tower they go, and just a very messy engagement here from the Radiant.
Yeah, I mean, they had to figure that something was up. You know, and with the BKB down on the Wraith King, it's just time for nouns to move in. Triple BKB's finally up. Gunner finally finishing his up. So you can just really play around on nouns. And Alpha, and they've had the right idea for a while. They've had really good aggressive wards. They've been moving around with smokes, but when you don't manage to find these farming cores, even with this lead not being the biggest in the world, 5k at 23 minutes isn't game-breaking or anything, and you're still #1 with Rises, everyone has had to make huge sacrifices for Rises to be up there. So it's all a matter of whether or not that investment is worthwhile or how long it will take for that investment to kick in, because you're hitting these big spikes on nouns, and it just doesn't look like they want to stop.
It just feels hard for Rises as well, right? Because it just seems like every team fight, he can't really close the gap on anyone. Like, you haven't seen the opportunity where he can just kind of walk in and one-hit one of the supports. It always feels like nouns are doing a great job of just kiting him in these team fights, and we'll hold that thought because mid lane now they have found Tiger once again. There's not really much they can do to try and help the man out. He is going to drop to Yamsen. And the Dark Willow being chased down here by Lelis, but they're going to let him just go for now. Like they want to try and move in onto that mid-tier 1 tower, but never mind that. Instead, they take the outpost. That's the funny thing. The bottom tier 2 tower has dropped from Nouns' end, so they can afford to take the outpost away from Alpha. And they still haven't even found the mid-tier 1 tower at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, you're not under complete pressure to take it. You've already forced Alpha to kind of dance around a map. They've just been trying so hard to play aggressive. They've been dragging Rises out a little bit forward in the map to really just try to get his farm up. You did manage to force the BKB from Gunner there. That was his first BKB charge, trying to just kill off our Clockwork. So there is a little bit of a gain for Alpha, not really anything they can really do much about. And they are still trying to defend that mid. Even though your bottom half of the map is kind of opened up, you still want that mid secure for the triangle, and you're still getting some good money out from Alpha, from Rises at least, going into the AC next, really building into that minus armor, and trying again with a smoke.
See if it works out for him. Roshan is available, so if they can win this team fight, Roshan is basically theirs, though Rises, he might get started instead. He does. Roshan under siege now. Nouns, they are going to smoke up. It seems like they've got an idea of what's going on at the moment. That direction of the rocket flare coming in kind of gives it away. So Nouns, they'll move in. Gunner, he'll get the shards out. Yamson now spots them out. Oh, that's a terrible position for Alpha. They're just trapped between a rock and a hard place. They'll go for the Rolling Thunder, but it's not going to matter. They'll lose Monster immediately. Yamson, he'll keep going for Roshan. Meanwhile, Lelis, he's rolling around with a Rubik's Cube right now. Just after Rises, just zone him out, cut Wish off instead on the Dark Willow. Meanwhile, Yamson, he is still going after Roshan. Tiger, though, is ready to go for the hookshot into the steal. Instead, they'll chase down Rises onto the Wraith King, force out the buyback. The hookshot in from Tiger, it's used, but it doesn't lead to anything. RP, I mean, it's going to be out, but where's your follow-up? It's not going to be there. Yamson, he's perfectly fine. He'll just keep fighting back. Rises, he's in the middle of all of this. He goes down the first life. Snowball back in. Somehow this Monkey King is not going to drop. Rises, he's still getting kited in and out. They'll force stuff Yamson away. He finally drops, but at what cost? At what cost for the side of Alpha? They are losing everything.
Oh boy. 2 diebacks right there. Really tough for Alpha. I mean, it looks like they have that opportunity to go for a fight. Widow's buybacks with a commitment coming out from Nouns, it's just not enough. They get the RP off, but then they didn't have anything to stop Lelis. He has a stolen RP. He didn't even have to use it in that counter fight, and they take the Aegis anyway. Nouns, I mean, you can just see how well this team has worked together to kind of shape up here, and that coordination's really kicking in.
I love the 4-staff itemization here from Husky, and of course Lelis. Just, you see it throughout the team fights constantly. We do see a replay here as well. It's just really tough, right? Like you catch Yamson, 4-staff. You get close again, 4-staff. Like, this is what I was saying earlier, John. This Wraith King can't hit anyone.
No, he really can't. Like, he just has no way of gap closing by himself. They need a setup to come out from the supports or possibly from Soul. Probably best from Monster if he can nail that RP. But his Blink Dagger still a ways off because he did go for those Guardian Greaves. I mean, they've got the durability, but they don't have any way of leveraging it if they can't catch anyone out.
Certainly so. Now Nouns, they'll move in again. They want to try and get even more aggressive. Hookshot is there. They will make the jump up the Clockwork, but a nice Rolling Thunder, and now an RP being committed. They've caught a couple. That was Lelis' RP holding down Soul. He'll roll away. Meanwhile, Terrorize is out onto Yamson, but there's no follow-up. Once again, Yamson, he'll see Rises, but misses the stun. He does not connect, so Rises, he can jump right back in onto the Rubik, but where's the detection? Where's the sentry?
Oh, no.
Oh, it's too late. Ooh, they do at least find Lelis with the swashbuckle out, but that's all they get for their trouble. I suppose it's something for Alpha.
Yeah, it's something coming out there. You know, you did manage to get a couple of BKB used up. At least Yamson's BKB is gone. You did still have to commit at least just a Rolling Thunder. Not the biggest spell in the world. So you still have some room for playing here on Alpha. But now I think they're confident enough to just go in again. Like, losing your Rubik isn't the biggest deal. If you can still isolate certain key heroes in these fights, just say prevent Magnus from getting good RP off, even while the Rubik's dead, prevent Rises from jumping anyone, then your conditions are still the same on nouns. You still have all the control in the game right now. You still have this Aegis running on Gunner for at least 2 minutes 40 here. And his damage is going to scale up as well once he finishes up this Desolator.
Certainly is. That's the point where you start to get really annoyed going up against this Tusk. It's just the amount of damage he can do with that Deso. Always very fun for the Tusk play, but not so much for the supports on the other side. So we do have another smoke to come out here from Nouns. 3-man smoke out. No Aegis to play with, but they don't seem to mind. Mind you, the Blink is coming now on Monster, so you do have that initiation with the RP and even the Skewer back. Something they've been lacking for a long time. However, they might be lacking Rises. He is all alone right now, but it doesn't seem like Nouns know it. They don't have vision around the area, so for all they know, Rises could have had his whole team behind him.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate backing off for Nouns. Pretty big for Alpha to just have Rises keep farming up there and not get punished. So his AC timing still going to come out pretty well here. And again, that's just going to amp up his presence. Immediate smoke out from Alpha after seeing that rotation as well. They do have some good forward wards still running up top if they want to head up there, but it's only really Lulls they might catch out here.
There we go. They know Moo's up at the top lane. He is behind that T2 tower though. It's kind of hard to make the jump in. Soul's thinking about trying to go for the Rolling Thunder. Rocket Flare's going to give the vision over. Moo will try to go for a run, but they'll make the jump in perfectly. Hookshot there as well, just to ensure Moo has absolutely zero chance of being able to get away from this. So nice little pick off there from Alpha. And that's going to open up that top T2 tower to take down.
They've got an opportunity to get some good push going. You are still getting shoved in down bot. The mid's finally sort of being cleared out, although it's not quite there.
Oh, Rises. He's all alone in that mid lane, but once again, Nouns, they don't have the vision to really know where the rest of the team is. They're just not feeling confident enough to take him out, and to be fair, that mid-tier 1 tower is still standing, so there is a TP point for the side of Alpha.
Yamson takes care of it now. That is one stark difference with Alpha and Nouns. Alpha's just been continuously warding that top jungle, ensuring they've got a really good idea as to where Nouns is at, whereas Nouns' vision game hasn't quite been on point. Then again, you see a million sentries here from Alpha, so they've just been ensuring that Nouns can't play too much with his net worth lead. If they're still 12k up, 7-19. Aegis about to expire on Gunner, but he is working onto his Axe next. And once you have that kickback, I mean, you can just really kite around his Raid King. Like, there's just no way you move forward by yourself here on Rises now.
Yeah, even more kiting to happen here for poor old Rises. He does at least have a blinker. You know, so he can make a jump in and maybe delete somebody. Maybe. We'll see. I have Skadi up as well for the for Yamson, so bit of slow, never hurts against the Wraith King. Here we go. Alpha, we're going to show on the mid lane. Yamson will make the jump in immediately and jump right back up. So they're trying to bait the side of Alpha in. Alpha just staying as a unit. 5 players together constantly now. They want to force a fight. Nouns are still around in that mid lane, just on the other side. Big hits coming out from our Wraith King. It seems like both teams are just going to be rather cautious until maybe the next Roshan. No need to rush this game. Even with a 13k advantage for the side of Nouns, it's still just such a close game, considering how farmed Rises is. One good team fight and that net worth lead could swing right back the other way.
It's really down to the risk of a bad team fight for Nouns. Just because of all the teamfight potential that Alpha does have. I mean, with a Blink RP for Monster, your BKBs just don't mean anything, especially if you can't get the jump first. They'll try though, Moonlight Shadow out.
They will give it a shot. Seems like Alpha are well aware that smoke happened, however. The Moonlight Shadow going to move in. Gunner. Just going to walk away, be about it. They don't want to fight into that Radiant Triangle, which is not safe whatsoever for Nouns. Instead, they'll take the outpost back. And Alpha, well, they'll just have to bide a bit more time, maybe even force their own smoke, and then they go. They know exactly where Nouns are. That dire jungle. They don't have the greatest vision of that area right now, but they do have a very sneaky ward in the backside. He's going to get de-warded immediately, however, in Alpha. Well, now without the vision, probably won't want to force the fight.
Boom, there it goes.
Again, it is all about that second Roshan. Still 45 seconds away till we find out when that Roshan is going to spawn up. Just so important in a game like this to be able to secure that secondary Roshan, especially for Alpha, if they do wish to try and force a comeback in this game one. Both sides, they will just patiently wait.
Yeah, I mean, you still have some good beats on nouns to hit. You do have the Octarine up on Mu. Once he hits that level 20 talent, your Doom cooldown's pretty ridiculous. We heard Fear kind of talking about that there last time as well. So you've got a lot more to grow into here for nouns, even if the game's slower. And, you know, you've got this lead. It feels like you have to do something, but you are still working the map. Even if you're not finding these kills, you're not forcing these fights, the map is still in your control. You're still steadily building up. Your farm share with all 3 cores is really clean here, and you have a lot of farm on your sports. I mean, Lelis is matching Monster's farm. That just tells you the state of the game right now.
Here we go again. 5-man smoke up now. They're going to try and force another fight. Roshan's up in 34 seconds. Counter smoke now from Alpha. Where does the fight happen? That's the question. Rise is trying to bait in the mid lane, but nobody's taking that bait. Way too obvious. Outpost taken once again by Nouns. Arrow to scout out, gonna see nothing. Rise is more than happy to frontline. He'll blink right in by himself, hoping that they try to force the fight, but Nouns are retreating immediately. They look for that perfect opportunity, and this might be it. They jump in onto Rises. It's on the high ground. Rises, he'll get forced up back to the low ground, but moves in. He stuns him up, and that's the reincarnation. It's gone. Boundless, however, not timed perfectly. Rises, he'll blink out. Roshan is now up. Alpha, they're still thinking about forcing this fight. Keep in mind, Reincarnation's down for 46 and they've lost Soul. Oh, that's a big deal. That mid-Pango's gone. And suddenly, Mu, he's found himself a Magnus. They'll doom him up. This is not the fight they wanted. Alpha, they're still going to try, at least for now, but I just don't know about this. They need to back. They are trying to rush a team fight that just doesn't need to happen. They've caught out the Wraith King. Rises, he is gone. Oh, this is terrible for Alpha. That's a free Roshan now for Nouns, and they forced the fight that didn't need to happen.
Yeah, they tried to come back in, and it's just the same issue, Mike. The kiting is still happening for Rises. We see the left up, we see the 4 stabs coming in. They just make this Wraith King dance around chasing a target, and they just can't find it.
In goes Mu again. Jetpack is going to be there, but Tiger is going to get hit by a snowball and will go down a gunner. Meanwhile, they even found the Willow Wish. He's going to drop to boot. Just everybody on the side of Alpha getting wiped. And Nouns, right back into the Roshan pit they go. They don't want any kind of contention for this Roshan, and that they will not.
No, just going to go free. Alpha, I mean, you're at the state in the game where you can't even find a good RP position. They keep jumping in with Rises first, trying to force that clump up. When they do clump up, they don't manage to jump on top with that RP. I feel like if Monster was just there a little bit earlier when they initially committed onto Rises, you might have seen a little bit of a different story there. They play it safe and go with Rolling Thunder first. And it just gives openings for Nouns. Like Rolling Thunder, you've got triple BKB cores. You really don't care too much. After maybe 1 stun, you're just going to pop that BKB and go to town. Alpha, the game isn't completely out of their hands yet, and you are still beastly on this Wraith King. It's just super difficult to play. Like, you really do have to take care of these supports. You've got to find Husky. You've got to find Lilith. Take these 2 4 stabs out. Take that lift out. And then Rises can shine. If you can't do that, and we've seen it the entire game, like, it's been 37 minutes of chase the duck.
It's been a very rough affair. 27k advantage now. Alpha. It's going to be such a frustrating game for Rises. Another Moonlight Shadow out now from Nouns. They're going to try and move into that Radiant Triangle. There is 1 sentry around to give a bit of protection over. They do have a gem up on Wish as well. Mu is going to move in. We'll see them eventually. Dark Bull has been left and Rises. He made the jump in. He wants to try and go after that Doom. Yamsun, he'll get right to work. There's a Rolling Thunder up, but it's a very messy team fight once again for Alpha. They've got to try and retreat out of this. Rises has already left the building. He does not want the fight. both supports to go down. In fact, they even found the Magnus. Why the hell not?
The one saving grace for Alpha is that you managed to hold on to that RP threat for the high ground hold, or even for a tier 2 hold. You lose Monster for 40 seconds, a tier 2 is going to go. You don't really have counterplay until at least your Magnus is back up, or your entire support duo is back up as well. And now they've cemented themselves a 30k lead here, Mike, at 39 minutes in. If things weren't looking dire before for Alpha, I'd say right about now is the time where you're like, all right, this is a pretty tough game to hold from the high ground. You're really gonna have to gun for some big plays, big RPs, skewer backs, grouping them up for a big terrorize and bedlam, and rolling thunder on top. Like the whole shebang has to come out here for Alpha on the defense.
Absolutely. Another T2 tower going down. That'll be the final one on the map here for the Radiant. Gunnar looking for a way to jump in. He's got the Ags up. You've got to be wary of that kickback. They won't make the jump in on Rises this time around. Alpha. Got low ground, so not holding high ground for now. Maybe trying to find a straggler, but the whole team is still around here from Nouns. Yamson's going to jump in, but misses the bounders. Nu will also chase down with the Shiver's Guard. Hookshot is back out from Tiger. Yamson, he's going to be just fine with that. It seems like Nouns would be more than happy if they try to go for the fight. Monster, that's a great skewer back, however. They've got the Monkey King. He does have Aegis up, and now the 4-star back to the low ground. He is saved once again. They can't kill him. Now the stolen RP, right back the way of the clockwork. This is not a good fight whatsoever. Alpha, they are trapped between a rock and a hard place, and now the shards. Rises, he's getting kicked around left, right, and center. They've got the Wraith King wherever they want, really. Just surround him. He's got no chance. A nice blink away, though. BKB up, get the hell out of there. Rises, oh, he can't find a way back to the high ground. They just won't leave him alone. First you kite him out, now you just kick him into your team fight. Onto the Pango they go. Why not another? Soul's gone. We might need to see some buybacks incoming, or we might need to see a GG call very, very soon, because this game is not getting any easier for the side of Alpha. No, not whatsoever.
It's really not going to get any easier from here on out, Mike. This is a football match is what it is. I mean, not just the kicks, all the force-staff plays. The fact that Yamson can just jump so far and not get punished because of the supports. And one more, it's a row there.
Look at that. He was full HP.
I mean, what can you do? You've got 14 charges on the desk, so now for Gunnar, you just melt people. And that's going to be 2 sets of racks. Could even be Mega Creeps if they really want to push it. There's just no defense that I can see Alpha come up with, even with a respawn and Monster, unless he gets the skewer back into Fountain. Even then, I mean, with 2 force staffs and lift, it just doesn't feel like you'll even get the Fountain on your side.
Certainly not. I mean, they've got 1 team fight left in them, I think, here, Alpha. Couple buybacks available as well. They don't want to get megaed. They've got to try one last time, but they're just holding on to those buybacks. Nouns. Do they back off? I mean, they have got the Aegis expired now. Oh, Moose, he's going to jump. Oh, they found the Magnus. Great play from Moose, just kind of sensing the presence of the Magnus in the tree line. Rolling Thunder's there, but it's really doing nothing. And now with the Wukong's command out, they just cannot stop the pushing coming. Nouns, they'll get it done. Moose still moving forward, finding the Wraith King.
No,
now
Rises.
The kickback, leave him alone. Leave Rises alone, he's had enough. Oh, they kick him back again. Oh, Rises, no. Oh, GG. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, it's a rough game. It's a rough game to be a Wraith King here. They draft really well, and they play really well now, right? Like, the itemization into those double force staffs, the Shard eventually coming out. Lelis and Husky just play a fantastic game. Like, they just allow their team